Welcome everyone to the very first, and I hope it's not the last, comic book review live. Um, so today I will be reviewing two books: um, Superman number 43 and Brave and the Bold Wonder Woman number Brave and the Bold Batman and Wonder Woman number 2. Um, so yeah. Um, let's see how this actually goes. Remember, I will be doing a live stream next month, showing my the rest of my Superman books, which are Superman 1987. You know, the post-crisis reboot of that title. Um, Probably Man of Steel as well, Superman Man of Steel, and that's about it. Maybe I'll throw in some other stuff to celebrate my fifth anniversary in the as a YouTuber, as a member of the comic book community, which I started, almost 5 years ago. My first video being an unboxing, no, showing off the first buys I got from eBay. So let's get on with the review. So I'll start off with Superman number 43. Bizarroverse, the Bizarroverse storyline continues. So last issue, Boizarro showed up in John's room in Metropolis. This issue starts off where the last issue started. Actually, after Superboy left Hamilton and Kathy, which we now learn she also uses the name Beacon, and Gus has a sort of superhero uh, type costume. So mostly this issue really deals, it goes back to the heart of what this run of Superman has been, which is about fathers and sons. So Boizarro has a sort of bad relationship with Bizarro. So after going to Hamilton and dealing with that with the whole Boizarro thing, we actually get Rob Zaro, which is the Bizarro version of Robin. So it does get a little bit of kind of crazy. We got Nobody also showing up in this issue, and he all traveled to Bizarro World, where we find out that all of Bizarro's enemies, the Bizarro villains, have disappeared. So we end up with a very, I mean, if you're from my generation, you we get actually a callback to the Legion of Doom from the Super Friends. If you remember, Super Friends versus the Legion of Doom, which is a show I used to watch when I was very young. I have memories going back to like when I was like 2 or 3 years old, watching it on TV. So yeah, it's a fun issue. The art here is by uh, Patrick Gleason with inking by Joe Prado. Really just enjoy this story because it does have a bit of a heart to it. Again, just basically about the relationships between father and son, parents and their kids. So yeah, very good, very cool. uh, issue. Next up, we got the River and the Bold, uh, Batman and Wonder Woman, number two. So it's pretty much like last issue. Great art, a lot of words to it. Not much really happens in the book. It's mostly talking heads, no real action. The pacing is okay. The story does move forward, but it really just basically deals with Wonder Woman trying to convince the people of Tyrannog that they have to investigate who killed the king of the, I mean, what's the factions. Sorry about that. Um, the king of the, oh, sorry about that. Let me see. But anyway, the king that died, um, you know, there was a child there. One of the guards, visitors, wanted to kill him because he assumed that he was the guilty party. But Wonder Woman says, we need to investigate. She uses her magic lasso to prove that the boy was innocent. We're introduced to the king of the Dan of the Danan, who had invited the murdered king. He shows up, we're introduced to him, but basically that's pretty much what goes on. We go on with this old guy as well, who's been living in the park in the Irish quarter of Gotham. Batman is helped by Alfred to get away from the sort of fog that created this hallucination, which has entrapped um, most of everyone who was in a specific area of the Gotham Irish quarter. He sort of, Batman, with the help of Alfred, through the calm, uh, goes out, uh, and and he actually Batman, Bruce Wayne actually describes what it felt like. Like it wasn't like he felt it was magic, uh, because he felt different from like some hallucinogenic gas, you know. Uh, and that's when Wonder Woman shows up at the end to ask for his help to help in the investigation, uh, which is something that Wonder Woman uh, had suggested to everyone in the court. So now the two stories are really starting to come together. Hello there, Sleepy, and bring everyone together. Everyone was in a consultation. He brings them together. We learn that the whole hallucinogenic thing was actually sort of like the magic seeping out, and apparently this man, finally sort of seems to have found his way out of into Tirnanog, uh, as he was probably the only person who's actually been searching for an entrance, who still sort of believes in the in the um, in the the entrance who was the only one who's been searching for it, and pretty much lost everything. Um, just to sort of still get in touch with the fairy creatures. We also learned that the murdered king actually to um, wanted to find a way to come back to the world, uh, and it's believed that the only reason they retired to this uh, world was because they needed their power came from the worshipping of humans. And this other king believed that that wasn't true, that was just like a lie. So again, the story moves forward, but it's not a lot of action. If you want action, there's not a lot of it. Just you know lots of talking heads. I'm actually liking it as it's sort of slowly it begins to bring out a lot of these ideas, but it's 6 issues long. So as much as ideas are coming out and the story is unfolding, it will take a bit of time for things to really start moving. I mean, last issue was like set up, bringing part of the two players, bringing Batman and Wonder Woman into the story, but this issue finally teams them up at the end. So next issue would be the beginning of the actual team up and the beginning of the investigation. So let's see. Yeah, the art is great. I mean, I love the art because part of it is really sort of set up as sort of an illuminated book, very ancient, very medieval. In some of the like in the ages, there are a lot of great ideas here. But yeah, it's taking quite a. It's gonna take quite a bit for the story to unfold. And again, if you don't really like talking heads, it might not be a book for you. I mean, Liam Sharp's art is, I mean, incredible. I mean, just all the detail is great. I mean, just a lot of detail in it. So yeah, I mean, I gotta say they were great reads. This one takes a lot longer to read, but I love. I'm a huge fan of long reads. I love the books from the 80s and early 90s. Because at that time, uh, wordiness was the way to sort of create a very compressed story. So even if you had like long stories, arcs, especially like at Marvel, you writers still needed to have a full story being told in an issue, beginning, middle, and end, maybe with a cliffhanger for the next issue, but a very central idea. So to do that, writers had to write a lot of captions, a lot of dialogue to introduce characters, to move the story along, because they were limited by the fact that, you know, in the newsstand, uh, readers could only weren't necessarily getting every issue until, stars started to pop up. But yeah, um, so I really like long reads, but in this day and age, it feels like people want stories to move a lot faster than what we were used to. I mean, not too long ago, actually, about, gotta say, almost 20 years, a little bit more. We got a whole decompression of comics, and we're very patient, you know, where we could, pick up like story arcs, each issue. But by the way, each issue sort of stood up on its own within the larger context. Uh, but then it just seems that a story like this uh, might not satisfy modern readers because it is decompressed in a way, as it sort of unfolds the whole thing in 6 issues. So, like I said, this day and age is more about binging, binge watching, binge reading. I think going to the trade and the hardcovers is a good idea. I was actually watching the publishers panel. This is publishers panel live on YouTube, and they were talking about the Black Label, which is uh, going to be graphic novels. They're not gonna be monthly books. They're gonna be graphic novels with a beginning, a middle, and an end, because I think comics have changed a lot. When I started, we still had the compressed storytelling, we had long story arcs. Uh, Nowadays, readers want something a lot faster. Uh, Now, people who buy monthly comics might actually not read the issues until they get the whole story and then read it fully. Of course, trade paperbacks are also going into overdrive in sales. I remember when they started uh, to become a thing. I remember people used to say the writers wrote for the trade, not so much for the monthly reader. So you always had 6 issue story arcs with a beginning, a middle, and an end. Uh, Everything was resolved by the last issue. There was no really any long term storytelling. Suddenly it wasn't, subplots that slowly would develop into the main plot. Just got like those 6 issues, and that was it. Really started back in the late 90s when I started. So um so if you want me to recommend a book, really, I mean, I only picked up two this week. I won't be picking up much stuff for the foreseeable future. Just about 1 or 2 issues a week. And with May coming along with the whole Man of Steel thing, I will buy that book because it would probably be like the only book I'll be picking up. Maybe a few other issues. Yeah, yeah. I've been doing a lot of studying here about the newsstand thing because I actually started buying from newsstand, or where they sold imported magazines and comics. The whole newsstand thing was still a thing back. I mean, the first comic I bought, actually bought in like a gift shop, which is Superman number 79, I want to say. Uh, and I got up like a full story, even though it was part of the Reign of the Superman. I got a full story, which was the origin of the Cyborg Superman. Uh, and I didn't even feel lost with what was going on because the story laid everything down. The whole issue did. These days, you have to pick up the last issue or the last few issues just to get what's going on in the new issue, or you really start off with a new arc. Uh, Picking up random comics is not that much fun, so that's why For example, I didn't pick up a single issue of Action Comics until 999 because it was a whole story arc going on, and I can't even find those issues. I think they were even overpriced by my shop. I don't know, because they were selling really well. Yeah, Sleepy, that's right. Yeah, I just can't. I have to either get, stuff from like a new arc or buy a whole bunch of back issues just to get the whole story. I mean, I just did it with Supergirl. I had to pick up like the entire last arc. I had to pick up from the very beginning, and I actually haven't even picked up Paper Girls because one issue is missing at my shop. So I may actually picked up issue 16. Could pick up comics until recently, and they actually had like issue 18 and 19. 20 just showed up in a back issues, but the second issue of the current arc or of the last arc, issue 17, is nowhere to be found. So I'm not even uh, bothering to pick up that 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 book until the next arc, or probably try to locate the missing issue before picking up the rest of them. So yeah, I mean, I'm thinking about Tony One stuff. I think this one actually is a good example of some old school style writing uh, with the modern sensibilities. I think because it's a very focused issue, uh, and it does have the first few opening pages, though. Uh, Sort of do go back to, like I said, it starts with that where it began, last issue, but a little after that, and then we kind of continue with where we left off last in the previous issue. But it's all done in such a way that you don't get lost. You get the information that you need, and so there are certain writers, I think, especially the old school writers, the pros, the veterans, that still kind of write. They sort of try to modernize their style, but they still go back to the every issue somebody's first issue attitude. Um, oh yeah, right, Sleepy. Yeah, I really do like that. That uh, with Rebirth, and I think even with the New 52, this is, and a little bit earlier, I think DC has started to sort of let the writers write the type, a little more freedom in the way they write, and their pace their comics. Uh, because yeah, there's been a lot of one-offs, spotlight issues. For example, there was one with Green Arrow, I think last year with Emiko, was a Dunning one. Uh, and arcs are going sort of from six. They're doing like one-offs, or not one-offs, but like Dunning one issues along with 2, 3 issue arcs, 4 issue arcs. So I think it now just depends on the writing, from what the stories the writers wanted to tell. Because, for example, a good example of decompressed that was terrible was the Superman arc for Tomorrow, which written by Brian Azzarello with art by Jim Lee. That, when it came out, it was, and it's still real, reads really bad, in the sense that it was, for like the first half of the 12 issue run, you kind of got like little bits and pieces of story, and then the second half sort of picked up pace. But for like the first half, it was really slow. Uh, and I even remember reading comments on comics, Superman comics specifically, of how back in the old days, the writers could convey something in just a few panels instead of going through pages and pages of art, pages and pages of every little single step uh, being shown on the page. And then I remember as well how sometimes people criticize, for example, Kurt Busiek when he did his Superman run, where he compressed issues. So, which compressed issues into like a few panels with a lot of captions, and then people will say, "Oh, but aren't you supposed to show, not tell?" So that's always baffled me quite a bit when either people complain that the stories were too uh, long and slow, and you sometimes got little bits and pieces, not a full story within an issue, or people complain that it just read too fast because there's a lot of captions, there are a lot of words, and that's always baffled me. People don't seem to make their minds up. But yeah, like I said, this is a good example of a good issue focusing on one thing. It does have a plot. It does have a beginning, a middle, and an end with your basic, cliffhanger here with the Legion of Fun instead of the Legion of Doom, which reminds us of like I said, the super, the whole setup here, with Luthor, or Bizarro Luthor, and all the Bizarro villains with the Bizarro Justice League at their feet. Uh, so yeah, so it's a good example of a modern comic really being written like, well, like you really could pick this issue up randomly and not have a lot of problems with it, because you know it picks up textile elements from the previous issue without going through the whole recap, recapitulation of what happened before. Uh, so, well, 28 minutes. That I have to say. I'll probably do another one of this in the near future when I have some time and I have some other things to show and talk about. I will be doing that whole comic thing mid-April. I'm thinking we got what Easter coming starting this week, so not a lot of time. I have a lot of distractions, and I will try to do as close as I can to my anniversary. So I gotta check when I posted my first video and determine if the date falls in, and I'll do it near that date. I'll let you guys know on Twitter, and when that's going to happen. So it's gonna be around this time. Actually, right now it's it's 2:30 p.m. We're here in Mexico, so it's actually going to be around 2:30 here in Mexico because no. Anyway, so I don't know what that means. So I will be doing. Uh, so like I was saying, it's 2:30 here, which is actually yeah, Sleepy, because we haven't done the daylight saving times yet. That actually happens next Saturday when we actually change. We actually change when we actually change time. So for like about 2 weeks, we are actually the same as Mountain Time, and 1 hour ahead of Pacific. So uh, next week, in fact, next Saturday, on April 1st, April Fool's Day, will be, changing time, and will be again 2 hours ahead of Pacific time, 1 hour ahead of Mountain time. Will finally be in sync with Central time, and 1 hour behind Eastern. So yeah, that's why I didn't want to say a specific time when I was going to do this one, because of the confusing, the difference of time, which is like for 2 weeks, and everything goes back to normal. Yeah, actually I was going to comment on that, Sleepy. Uh, Welcome with the All Star Superman Hangout. Uh, I was living in a larger house, so the Wi-Fi was terrible. Now that I live in a smaller apartment, uh, we have really great Wi-Fi. It really does get into every area. In fact, right behind me, behind the door, uh, that's where we have like a little hall, a little area where we have the Wi-Fi. So it's better than I had when we lived in the other house. The other house was way too big. My room, for example, didn't get the Wi-Fi as well. When I actually did the hangout over with the All Star Superman thing, uh, I actually moved to the living room where the lighting was terrible. The Wi-Fi struggled to get, um, but now that I live in an apartment which is much smaller, the Wi-Fi is great, doesn't get lost as it did there. So yeah, I think it'll be great if we actually do a hangout. Actually, one of the reasons I've been trying to do this, decided to do this live, and the other one with the Superman one, is to sort of get going into live streaming. Not that I can actually do it without any actual problem, thankfully. And so yeah, we can actually talk about it and do a hangout. Talk about some comics. So almost 30 minutes, and I have nothing else to say. Any questions? Any comments? Just let me know, Sleepy, what you want to do, and we set up the date and time. I'll probably do something soon or soonish. So yeah, I guess I'm gonna leave it here. So for the whole Superman thing that's gonna come in April, I'll let you guys know the date and the time. It should be around. Yeah, it'd be great. After Easter, yeah, that'd be great. And just let me know what you want to talk about. I got a ton of things to actually talk about. There's a wide variety of stuff to talk about. So yeah, so I'm hoping that once, I know that the time should be around 1:30 or 2:30 daylight saving time afternoon, around 1 or 2:30, which is when I have a little bit of time to myself. I actually had to tell people that I was going to do this so they wouldn't bother me. So here my brother goes out on Saturdays to study Russian. Uh, so that's when I have my room for myself. And yeah, I guess I will be ending this. And I'll see you in the next video. And hope I think it might be a video. I don't know if I'll do this live again in a while, but we'll see. It depends on the time and my mood. If I want to do something fast, hoping to get a few more viewers as well to get more engaged. But I think I did pretty well for my first video. So I'll end this as I always end my videos. I'm even losing my voice now. So I'll end this as I always end my videos. Until next time, keep smiling.